point of view, they kept going and they've got something.
They did, and they didn't panic, and resolute from Arsenal. My heart's beating out my chest here. I absolutely love that. Wild at the end, so much passion, great effort from Arsenal, incredible effort from the 10 players, but they just couldn't hold on. City stayed true to how they want to play. Poacher's finish from John Stones, but David Raya, special mention, incredible performance, and he almost produced a miraculous save to win the game.
Yeah, we've seen Mikel Arteta there. With 10 men, normally he'd be pleased with a draw at the Etihad, but so late, it must feel almost a little bit like a defeat.
I don't know. I think that when he looks back at that, he has to say, you go to City and you go down to 10 men for that long, defending with no one up top, literally attack versus defence training session, and you hang out for that long, in the end, you've got to be happy to take the point. It would have been brilliant had the game been in 11-11 because it looked like it would have been a very good game, but again, you have to give credit to City for the fact that they kept going, but I can't honestly tell you how proud I am of the boys to go that long. And you can see how disappointed they are. Probably that's why it all kicked off at the end there, because they got so close to holding off City. Would have done so much for them mentally.
But is that what champions do in the end?
Yeah, I guess so. They kept trying, didn't they? I mean, it was
28 shots they had in that second half.
Yeah, but I think most of them were speculative. I don't think there was many, big chances. There were a lot of them desperation.
Made a few saves, Raya.
He did, yeah. Raya had a good game. I don't know. Part of me, that first half was absolutely incredible, and part of me thinks the sending off almost spoilt the game, ruined the game, because the second half was literally, the same, wasn't it? It was just 11 against 10. Arsenal sat back. Part of me, though, then says, well, it's actually quite interesting. Let's see how they can break them down. And obviously there was a couple of interesting moments. But in the main, I was a bit disappointed about the red card. It was a red card. I did feel it was a red card, but I just thought if that game had continued the way it was first half, we might have had an all-time classic going on there at 2-1 at half-time. But it wasn't to be. And as I say, something different in that second half. Was I surprised? It was quite a unique way of doing things from Arsenal's point of view. Sometimes people go down to 10 men and they will defend deep, of course, but they will still have an outlet or something. Arsenal were just happy just to literally not touch the ball and sit there. And it very, very nearly worked.
No, I don't know. I was quite disappointed with Trossard with that in the end, especially what's happened just recently with Declan Rice and how you come to a place like the Etihad and you firstly do a foul like that when you're on the yellow, which was quite testing. But then to kick the ball away in any way, you know what I mean? You're kind of like you're giving the referee an opportunity, and that is probably something that when you look back on, it's in the grand scheme of things, it was poor play from him. It was poor play from him, simple as that. So I think the rest of the guys done unbelievably. It would have been interesting to see that game with 11 against 11. But, a point, you have to take it. For 10 men for that long, you have to take it.
And they will, and we will analyse it, and we will discuss it, and we will have all the reaction from the Etihad Stadium to come at the end of what has been another headline-making Premier League weekend. Impressive from Chelsea and from Villa, and indeed from Fulham, Newcastle's first defeat of the season. A point apiece, Leicester and Everton. Liverpool back comfortably to winning ways. Ipswich getting a point late on at Southampton. Spurs beating Brentford. Manchester United held at Crystal Palace. Earlier today, we saw 3 red cards, 8 yellow cards and 4 goals at the Amex as Brighton and Forest played out a 2-2, including both managers sent off on the south coast there, and another 2-2 late on in that 98th minute with the John Stones goal, getting 11 men Manchester City a point against the 10 of Arsenal. So this is how the table finishes after the 5th round of matches in our Premier League season. 3 teams on 1 point. They are Wolves propping up the table, Everton and Southampton, all of them in the drop zone. Ipswich, Palace and Leicester also still awaiting their first wins of the season. Liverpool went top yesterday. They've been replaced by Manchester City with that point. Arsenal in 4th, 2 points off the champions Chelsea, up to 5th after the 3-0 win at West Ham.
No problem for Arsenal. And then they just maybe switched off in that last little minute when obviously Grealish took the quick corner, which was very sort of smart from himself, which really took them off guard. But Look, Arsenal will take that, but it's a shame. It might really hit them hard going home tonight.
Were you confident that moment was always going to come, Micah?
No, I didn't think. I thought Arsenal defended really well. I was just thinking, you know, with a short corner when they had the extra Man City, was that going to be the undoing of them? And it was. But Man City will be disappointed in the way they sort of played in that second half. I thought Gabriel and Saliba were unbelievable. To defend like that for 45 minutes in the second half against the best team in the league, it was just remarkable. Going and getting tight, dropping off, spaces, organising, Gabriel scoring a goal. We're talking about... Because when Gabriel came to Arsenal, making a few mistakes on the ball, but he's changed his game to be reliable every single week. Whether it's set pieces defending, set pieces attacking, his overall play, I just thought he was remarkable.
They conceded 2 goals. They couldn't have defended that well. And they conceded 2 goals.
Yeah, against one of the best teams we've ever seen in Premier League history.
Yeah, but it has
of course, yeah.
Do you know what? Can I tell you? It has happened before where teams can get a result with 10 men.
Yeah.
It's like we're making out they've done something like extraordinary.
Yeah, but they did though, because
I tell you, listen, Arsenal done well, but City were really poor. No movement, no overlaps, no underlaps. So it was more poor play from Man City than Arsenal's brilliant defending.
Yeah, but we're talking about Haaland, the best striker in world.
And he scored.
Yes. Arsenal were brave in that first half in the way they stepped up. Haaland got his opportunity, the goals that we've seen him score at Dortmund, with the spacing behind. That can happen. It
did happen.
And then, second half, they went into a low block and defended for their life.
That's the easiest part of football. If you give anyone a coaching topic to defend, they'll do it.
I would agree with you if it wasn't against Manchester City. Man City can dissect anyone at any time. You have to stay concentrated for the full 90 minutes. And I just thought them two did that ever so well today.
A little taste of what's to come here before we leave you tonight on Super Sunday. We have an awful lot to get through. As Peter said, we have an awful lot to pick out of this.
Back to the top of the Premier League. Did you feel it was one of those games where perhaps City weren't going to get through the way it was going there?
I did, yeah. Eventually, at the end of it, I was looking at it thinking, can Arsenal hang on this whole way? And then as soon as they started getting close to 70 and then 80, I thought they're going to do this. Not easy at all. I mean, I'm sure City fans would have been screaming at their telly of how to break Arsenal down. It's not easy at all. Putting 10 men literally camped on the edge of your box, it's never easy. But Manchester City are used to that. You know, the teams come with 11 men and do that a lot of the time.
They had it should be used with Inter in the Champions League.
Exactly. And it's very difficult for someone like Haaland to get a touch of the ball. All I ever hear about is, Haaland never touches the ball, never scores all these goals. Yeah, that's how teams defend against Manchester City. It's impossible for a centre-forward to get a touch half the time. It's not that he's not good on the ball, it's just that's how teams play against them. So it was really difficult. Tough night for Manchester City. Obviously, Rodri getting injured as well early on. That could be a big blow. It remains to be seen what's happened there. But a fascinating game, and I'll just be delighted to keep that unbeaten run going at the Etihad and obviously not lose any. One of their main arch rivals.
Is that the mentality again? That they just keep believing, keep going, they don't need another way?
They really... And the way they played, you know, as Michael just touched on there, some Manchester City fans or some football fans would have been screaming, just get it in the box, just do this, just do that. Haaland's marked tightly. Anything that was chipped in, David Raya dealt with exceptionally. So they had to be patient. They had to be patient. And Arsenal kept giving up. They gave Guardiola and Diaz space. And you two can shoot. 20 yards out, no problem. We'll deal with everyone else. So City had to keep being patient. They had a few pot shots. No success. They had to stay patient, stay patient. And I still think they would have died on their sword. Even if they'd lost this game, I don't think Guardiola would have complained. I think the team would have carried on exactly how they are, because that's how they play football. In the end, people probably saying, lump it in, get Edison in the box. No, short corner, broke down, and John Stones finishes it.
Yeah, John Stones ultimately broke your heart. Is it a sort of wear down of concentration for the 10 men?
I think so, because when you do look at the goal, I think it's one of the few occasions where, obviously once Jack Grealish came on, when you look at the goal, where they had space, you look at the amount of space he's got here, and then you can look where Kovacic is. It's just the concentration in that. It was just it was just too much for them because normally they're on the edge of the box, they're all in their space. But this one, Jack takes it quick. See how much space Jack's got. Then Kovacic is left, and then they've done well to block it there. But by then, they're out on their feet. But like I said again, Man City, what's that, 48? It's amazing. They're never going to stop whether you've got 10 men or 11. But again, their resilience in going for us was always going to tell in the end. Was we going to be able to keep them out? And no. But like I say again, it was a fantastic effort from Arsenal to try. Brilliant effort.
Ray was that good. He almost saved that one, didn't he?
Yeah, lay on the floor, but you joke about it, but his reactions, he's used to at the moment, making saves, deflections off the bar, making a save with his penalty. He's back up, he's sharp. And probably when he looks at it, he probably thought John Stones was going to give him no chance. He ended up giving him a chance, and he almost pulled off a miraculous save.
And that's it. Hit and scored at the Etihad for 17 months. They get goals from everywhere, don't they? When someone needs to pop up.
Yeah, obviously Haaland is their main source of goals, and he scored again today.
But others can, that's the point.
Absolutely, everybody can, yeah. The way they play, certainly the way they played there, I mean, they didn't keep anyone back. It was the goalkeeper was on the halfway line, and then all the centre-halves were basically surrounding the penalty box. It was a very strange pattern to play in many ways. As I said, you don't normally see 10
You normally see at least a man up there, didn't you?
Exactly.
Did that surprise you, right, in any way?
It did, but more I was looking at it, I was thinking, well, who's he going to sacrifice to go up there? We've just lost Martinelli. Jesus came on, and we probably need him on that left side as well to help Miles Lewis-Kelly. But I was thinking, we need to give them a break, because even when we used to do that in training, you was able to kick the ball up so as the defence can come up and have a breather. They never had a breather. They didn't get a rest. And normally you think to yourself, you keep it more compact, you push them to the wings, but you have one person up there at least where you can get it out there. He can maybe go up, hold it, get a foul, get something to give you a breather, get you up the pitch. But we didn't do that. We didn't do that.
But there was no intent to do that, was there, really?
It didn't seem
I think
to be.
It was almost like Arteta just... Because I said, as we were watching, I was saying, it's almost like City's best chance of scoring is if Arsenal clear the ball and they actually chase the ball, and all of a sudden they're out of this block, and then City can count. Because as things stood, they were just... It felt like they were happy. And do you know what? I felt at all time, I thought they were comfortable as well. I never thought, oh my word, City are going to score here. They're absolutely peppering them. Yes, they had the ball. Yes, they were shooting from distance. But I never thought Arsenal at any point were out of their comfort zone. It felt like they were in control, even though they were defending.
Again, like when you look at the goal, it's the one time.
It is, yeah.
You look at it and you see all of a sudden there's space there and there's space there. You didn't see that before because they kept it so condensed. That City couldn't. Even when the ball came to people on the edge, you think, can he shoot? And then all of a sudden he said, no, I can't shoot. So, but in that moment, Jack with a quick corner played, then Kovacic, obviously they come off of Kovacic to come in to block. And they just kept going. We couldn't keep them off in the end.
So the 10 men of Arsenal lead the 11 of Manchester City by 2-1 at the Etihad. So much to discuss. Let's get straight into it. Erling Haaland giving them the lead into the 100 club in 105 games with a different finish, Michael.
Yeah, it is a different finish, a punched finish with the outside of his foot. We spoke before the game about his new little dinks that he's finding, but that was a lovely little finish. I do think it's avoidable. Gabriel comes out of position. I don't know why he's coming this far wide. Saliba can see the main danger. I don't know why he's looking elsewhere. He can see Haaland, but watch Saliba. He almost runs back, and it just leaves a huge gap for Haaland to run through. So it's a mistake, I think, by both centre-halves, and Haaland takes full advantage. I mean, and at that point you think, wow, what a start. Already more action than the time they met last time.
Yeah, that was the early goal that neutrals were looking for. Then Arsenal with their full debutant, Riccardo Calafiori, with the equaliser. Now, we'll talk about the build-up to it in a moment, but from Arsenal's point of view, what a stunning finish.
Well, it was, yeah. They took full advantage of a situation, but when you look at where Calafiori comes from, I'm thinking, might as well just have a shot. It's a great strike from where he is. I don't think they're ready for it.
No, they're not, and that's what we noticed. We were wondering why were Man City so infuriated after the goal. Now, what it is Michael Oliver. Previous to this, in the 5 minutes, it was a really, really frantic affair. Lots of little fouls. Michael Oliver's gone, right, I need both captains in. I need Kyle Walker and I need Saka. Don't care what position you are, I need you here, and I need to calm this game down. You two are responsible for calming this game down. long conversation. Now, bear in mind, Kyle Walker is Manchester City's right back. He would be set up with Martinelli with eyes on him right now. Away you go, says Michael Oliver. Thomas Partey's thinking he's going to let me play here. Bang, out of position, Martinelli's in. Now, of course, Kyle Walker makes a little complaint, but you play to the whistle. Ideally, ball gets played back. Calafiori, fantastic finish. Absolute fury from Manchester City. Kyle Walker's telling him, here, this is just after he's been released from the Saka conversation. Oh, my goodness me. What is going on here? It's completely, it's wrong. Michael Oliver's got this wrong. Yeah. He's called the players in to get some sort of control and then gone on to lose control. Letting Partey play, having pulled Kyle Walker out of position. Pep's swinging with Walker, but Walker makes the perfectly valid point there. You did not let me get back into position.
Yeah. See what Pep thinks.
Yeah, Pep's chair bore the brunt of it. But then, Gabriel, we were sitting here praising him from set plays last Sunday in the North London derby. City had a warning here as well, hadn't they?
Yeah, they did have a warning, but again, the delivery, he's very difficult to stop once he starts making that. It's very reminiscent to Tony Adams in the way he attacks these balls. But these balls are fantastic. It's a great ball.
It's so difficult for a goalkeeper's point of view, Righty. Martinelli, such an intelligent play. From a goalkeeper's point of view, everyone will say that's 3-4 yards out. What's Edison doing? Once the ball's in front of you, you can come and attack it. Once the ball goes over your head as a goalkeeper and you've got your eyes on the ball and you're backpedaling, that little touch from Martinelli, as slight as it is, makes it impossible. And it's a perfect ball.
And absolutely, man, that's right off the training ground.
Really, on those two corners, City had two different people marking Gabriel.
This is what I'm thinking, that it's like they've not prepared for the corners. Simply, you can't have Doku marking Gabriel, and then they've changed it to
Kyle
Walker. And again, you can see Kyle trying to... But they've got no plan to stop him. You've got to stop his run. You can't be next to him. He's going to make a move on you.
So that was all good for Arsenal, but they've then ended with 10 men. No arguments about Trossard's first yellow. The second we've had confirmed is for kicking the ball away, and on the back of the Declan Rice incident.
Exactly, Steve. Exactly. I mean, everybody knows the rules now. There's been so many yellow cards for kicking the ball away. Referees are being strict on the restart of games. Don't delay the restart of games. He gets a foul given against him and then he smacks the ball away. I mean, by the letter of the law, it is a yellow card, and it's consistent with what referees have been doing this season. So I don't think he has much of a complaint, despite Mikel Arteta being furious about it.
An incident action-packed first 51 minutes at the Etihad Stadium.
What a half of football. I'm not really sure any of us were expecting this, but a brilliant start for City, Micah.
Yeah, I think it's all about Savina here coming on the right-hand side onto his left foot. He could have played it earlier, but he times the ball perfectly well. The weight is brilliant, and then it's a great sort of finish from Haaland. Here, you just have to look at Haaland's position here. This is what we know Haaland for, especially when he was at Dortmund, running in behind. Gundogan occupying the defence as well, so it sort of spreads.
Theo, a different kind of finish, again from Haaland.
And as well, he makes it look so easy because you even look at Rayo's position, he makes himself look very small, not coming out and actually sort of on his feet, and it's the near post is a brilliant finish with the outside of the foot.
And then we see the Arsenal response. What a finish. This is from Calafiori, who you could be pointing fingers at for the goal that Arsenal conceded.
Yeah, he didn't start well, but this is absolutely brilliant. I mean, gets rolled back perfectly, taken in it first time, and it's the only place he can put it. And if you see it from behind the back of him, he knows that he's virtually scored halfway through the shot. It's a brilliant finish. You watch here, he's away now. Look, he's away. He knows already. As soon as you hit a ball, you know when it's coming away from the keeper.
What was City so angry about after that goal, Micah?
Well, you see it here with obviously the foul or whatever, and then the way where the foul is for a starter, and then the call over Kyle Walker to see what was going on. He speaks to the referee. Kyle Walker now is jogging back. He should sprint back, in fairness, and now he's basically saying he's not set. Arsenal take the free kick and up against Martinelli, and it was a little bit too easy. I feel sorry for him at the first part because if the referee calls you over...
That was out of position, you can see him saying.
He's not set, but he could have got in position quicker. And then he's too busy arguing. Obviously, Pep's not happy. And it's just been a bonkers first half.
It has, and we weren't finished there. Manchester City had the warning from the set piece. Again, we know Arsenal's strength. We know that Gabriel's trying to get there. Doku's trying to block him. But the warning was there, Theo.
Warning signs were there. The fact that you got someone like Gabriel who is consistently a threat. He's set pieces. Kyle Walker, they change it up here, but again, I'm asking questions of Man City. You've got to put one of your strongest headers of the ball, particularly when Arsenal has set pieces. Nicolas Jova, they work on it every day. He was at City. He knows the weaknesses as well at times. So, and they capitalise, and it's an incredible finish. But here, he's just trying to put him off, but he's just too quick. And again, you've got to ask yourself, the keeper issues.
Yeah, I'm always worried about the goalkeeper. I give Arsenal credit. They've always got players who come up and who want to head the ball. They're aggressive, they're determined. But Alisson's there. I've always said before, your goalkeeper, Edison's, they should come with violence, be aggressive. He's just stood there on his heels. But credit to Arsenal, they obviously set pieces, good delivery, and players who are determined to get their head on it.
Centre-back partnership a little bit later on as we get closer to kick-off at the Etihad. But William Saliba played every single second in the Premier League last season. He's still only 23. How important has he become and how well has he developed in the last couple of years?
I know we're going to speak about Gabby as well, but yeah, he's probably the cornerstone alongside Gabby in respect to what we're doing, the way we've built the team, defensively, from them two, really. But what he also brings, as well as he's been able to, cover with pace, he's been able to progress the ball, everything, the partnership with Gabriel Magalhaes, the way he activates that right side, especially when Ødegaard's playing, and the way he breaks attacks up and gets us on the attacking foot is brilliant, for his age. And even at the end there, him saying he thinks he's one of the best in the world, he is. He's not being, he's not boasting about it or anything, but if you look who's around that, he probably is one of the best in the world, and we're very fortunate to have him. I was just speaking to Joe about, he was on loan for 3 years, and even the second year...
I was going to make that point, yeah.
Yeah, he was on loan, after the second year, especially at the time, we probably needed him, and fans were talking about, when are we bringing him back, and Mikel and Edu sent him out for one more year, obviously got into the national side and everything, and then once he came back, we're seeing this William Saliba, from the time he's been in the side, just continually progress.
Yeah, I was just saying, right, because it was interesting as a non-Arsenal man. I got the impression as a non-Arsenal man that they weren't sure, but you just reassured me there. There was always a plan, right?
Well, the thing with Edu and Mikel, it wasn't. There was people sniffing around him, but it wasn't even in the question that he was going anywhere, because obviously Arsenal fans were still saying, "Why are we loaning him out again? Why are we loaning him? Don't we fancy him?" No, they knew what they had. And they gave him that extra last year. And look at what we've seen, what it's produced, just that extra year.
That's an art of coaching as well, Michael, isn't it? Because there must be a temptation to say, well, we'll have him back in January, let's get him in. But no, they stuck to the plan, got games under his belt in France, and they're reaping the rewards now.
Yeah, I mean, that opens a whole new conversation in terms of how you bring through players, especially in that centre-half position. It's a very dangerous position. You can't really just go and blood someone. I mean, especially in the Premier League, in that type of team, it can ruin you before you even start. So sometimes the loan system is a very effective way of bringing a player through. But Arsenal have absolutely got that position nailed now, haven't they? I mean, teams dream of a player of that standing, one of the world's best, in a position of that age that's just going to carry them through now for 10, 12 years. You look at players, the difference makers in some of these teams. And, at Liverpool, you've got your Van Dijks and your Mo Salahs, but getting on a little bit now. At Manchester City, you've got your Haalands, and that's a big tick because you've got him for a long period of time now. He's at an age. There's certain difference makers, and I just think that he is absolutely outstanding. And as I say, Arsenal have got that position ticked off for the long run now. Yeah,
that was one decision Mikel Arteta got right. I must ask you about the goalkeeping one, because he was criticised at the time when he brought in David Raya and Ramsdale went out. What we're seeing now from Raya all round as a goalkeeper, what have you made of him and that decision?
I've been so impressed, so impressed. I was like everyone when I was slightly confused, because I thought Aaron Ramsdale, he's doing a good job, just giving him a new deal. But David Raya, since he's come into it, honestly, he's grown into the position. What I love about him, right, is he's doing the simple stuff really well. Here he is, holding on to the ball. He's getting that relationship with Gabriel and Saliba. Give me the ball back, no problem. I'll keep the game ticking. Remember, it's a 95-minute game, and when you're in goal, you need to be good at the simple stuff. Here, this is when he can impact the game. That's the start, the differences, the subtle differences that he's starting to make. This is a piercing throw. Arsenal on the front foot, probably against the low block this game, but he's able to come and collect the cross, put them on the front foot, score the goals. And this season, not only has he been making fantastic saves, the difference-making saves. He might not have to make many. This is first game of the season, 1-0 up. The mood changes if that goes in. Trust me, that's an incredible save. Here we are, Aston Villa on the front foot, away at Villa Park. I think Arsenal lost there last season. Here, this is what we train for every day. Up, strong, huge save. The team go on to win that game 2-0. Incredible. But then we've got the Godfather at the moment in the Premier League. Look at this. When I talk about the simple things, he makes things look so simple. Give me the ball. Kanji, not a problem. Give me that ball. I'll keep moving it. This is against the Brentford team. Thomas Frank talked about being one of the best pressing teams in the league. And I think they've got a bit excited about the press. Can we nick the ball off them? You know, can we get on the front foot? Ederson goes, not a problem. One step. Haaland, beautiful timing, strong. How do you defend against that? You may well be the best pressing team in the league, but you have to commit numbers. And then on top of that, he makes some superb saves. This is last season at West Ham. This is this season. Now, look, people might say, I think the score was already comfortable at this time. That's late on in the game, but that's a top save. And for a goalkeeper like him to be able to do all of it is a real rarity.
And David Raya, of course, will look at Ederson as an inspiration. There's the numbers at the moment. No assists yet, because Ederson, incredibly, has got 4 Premier League assists, and that was the 4th one for Haaland there.
Yeah, and it's a rehearsed move. Like I say, if you want to come and press Manchester City, be aware, because Ederson can hit a 70-yard ball off one step, and we all know what Haaland's going to do when he gets into that situation.
Judging goalkeepers on assists now, that's incredible. Never thought I'd hear that.
That's why I'm out. That's why I'm tight. I'm out.
Fascinating. But Raya really has been a tremendous success, hasn't he? With the backing of his manager when people were questioning.
Well, this is the thing. Remember, it's Kai Havertz as well. I think both of those 2 players now are real cornerstones again to what Arsenal are doing. And when they came into a lot of criticism because obviously Aaron Ramsdale was a very popular player amongst the players and the fans, and Kai Havertz coming from Chelsea with not such great form, but Mikel stuck with them both. And, even when Raya came in, he was still under scrutiny from Arsenal fans, still had to make saves, still had to try and play out like that when people were watching him with a magnifying glass, and he still in those stages made great saves. So you could see that very quickly he became the number one, because the manager had so much faith in him. And what we're seeing now is a player and a goalkeeper that hasn't got a number one behind him that he has to worry about every week, where he's thinking, if I don't do this, then Ramsdale's going to come in at some stage. He's just now relaxed and calm in what he's doing. He knows he's going to be playing. And Joel could tell you more. When you're feeling like that as a goalkeeper, your confidence is just flowing because you know you're going to be playing.
It's so true, and it's such a great feeling, especially developing the relationship with the boys in front of him. I think he's settled into the role at Brentford. He would have had to make probably a few more saves than he will do at Arsenal. He's now understanding what it takes to be a title contending, or hopefully for him, title winning goalkeeper. It's the little things. Trust me, it's the little things, the little bit of the VT there, the playing out, the understanding, and then sprinkle on top of that his athleticism, his will to get up and make the saves for his team. And you can see how the boys react around him. They believe in him. And, respect to Aaron Ramsdale, he would have been looming over his shoulder last season. I think it's testament to the fact that they were quite happy to sell him and let him go wherever, because they were so happy with David Raya.
Start day with an all-star cast. Michael Owen, Joe Hart and Ian Wright with me throughout the day for what, in the very early in the season, is a blockbuster day with the top 2. With your Liverpool hat on, you'll still say, of course, they can win the league this season, but Arsenal have been the closest to City. So just how important so early in the season, in the race, the bigger picture for you, is this fixture?
Yeah, it's a huge game, Steve. I mean, you expect the standard of these 2 teams now, you expect them to win virtually every game that they play. And you saw last season how many points you need to amass to win this title. So there's very little room for error. So that just makes these games even more important. I don't care whether it's the start of the season, at the end of the season. They're very, very important games. And they're 2 teams that also go into this game in red-hot form. They're playing very well, had brilliant seasons last season, both of them. And they've started this season really well as well. So, a clash of the big guns, and, I can't wait.
Talk to me about City at the Etihad. 681 days since they lost a game in any competition. If you're a City player when you turn up at home, the mentality must be incredible.
Yeah, they definitely feel good. But the one thing I notice about this Manchester City team is they don't rest. They don't rest on the fact that it's 680 days since they've lost a game at home. They're fully focused on what the job in hand. That's the brilliance of this manager and his coaching staff, and the whole kind of atmosphere around the place is focused on taking care of what's in front of them, because, they're the kings and people are constantly coming for the throne. You've got to be strong. You've got to be focused. I'm really looking forward to the game today.
we saw Arsenal together last Sunday come through a test away in the derby without two key players. We saw them go to the Etihad last year and change a little bit and get a 0-0. What are you expecting the approach to be today from Arsenal?
It's probably be similar, especially when we've seen the way they've played in away games this season, and I can't see why they'd do anything different. You know, you can't go there and give Man City space to play. You have to be defensively very organised. I think that what we've done in the last few games, when you looked against Atalanta especially, is we defended very well. And the chances that we created in respect of Martinelli, had he done better with those chances, probably people be talking about it's a good defensive performance. And I expect them to do the same against City, because you can't go there and say, right, simply because people are saying things like, oh, Arsenal went there for a draw last season. 4 points against City in any stage is a good comeback in respects of points. So I expect them to do the same, and I want them to be a little bit more ruthless with the opportunities they get when they do break, because that's what they're going to have to do. City will give up some chances, and it's how ruthless you are with taking them.
Yeah, amazingly, Arsenal prevented City scoring in both of these fixtures.
Yeah, they did, and they set the stall out for it, didn't they? And you know, I think they executed an incredible game plan last season, and Mikel Arteta's showing that he's constantly playing the long game. You know, good results, as Righty just touched on there. 4 points against Manchester City is, if you're in pursuit of them, is strong. But you need to take those chances. It's all very well keeping clean sheets. Manchester City also know how to play the long game. They also know that a 0-0 is not the end of the world. But they really do feel ruthless. I think that's the difference that Manchester City show with that Erling Haaland factor, that they can, if they can keep it tight and they don't concede, they're pretty sure that they're going to score. Whereas Arsenal, it's not as obvious at the moment. You
know, when you look at City, the way that they've managed the players coming back from the Euros, went to the latter stages, you've seen, I think Rodri started his first game the other day. Is Gundogan? I'm not sure if Gundogan started the other day, but I think he has he done 90 minutes yet? Same with Foden. Kyle Walker didn't play in the week, so he'll probably play today. When you've got someone like Erling Haaland who had a stress-free pre-season, you can then take your time to bring those players back, because he started, if there's a gamble to start him, so see if he could start that well to get those wins and play well, then you can slowly introduce the top guys, which I expect to see in this game today, maybe not De Bruyne. It's worked out perfectly. It's worked out perfectly to coincide with them playing Arsenal at home with the top boys. I think it's been brilliant, to be honest, the way they've managed it.
Michael was talking about the standards there. Let's just remind you, in the last two seasons, how close these two teams have been, how well Arsenal have done, and it's still not been enough. Since the start of the 22-23 season, Arsenal have only won 3 games less than City. They only lost 3 games more, as you can see. The points difference is minimal, really, over a period like that. Goals scored, goals conceded, and more clean sheets for Arsenal. The problem, as we keep saying, Michael, is they've performed so well, like Liverpool under Jurgen Klopp. In a lot of seasons, it would have been enough for the title, but they're up against the Kings, as Joe says.
This is the problem with anybody that wants to try to win the Premier League at the moment. You're coming into, and we'll always say it, won't we? Oh, yeah, they're a great team. You've got to be a great team to win the Premier League. But someone like Liverpool, as you just mentioned, Jurgen Klopp, I mean, the team that they've had over the last decade to only win one, and to get the points that they reached. And Arsenal are starting to feel that same thing now. I mean, they have only had a great team for a couple of years, a title-chasing team. So it's incredible, the standards, the levels that City are setting, and you've got to do something absolutely out of the ordinary to have any chance of winning the trophy.